Have you ever changed a set of these? Chances are, if you've done any DIY work on your own car, you probably have at some point. It's a set of brake pads. It's no big deal. It's a basic wear component that's designed to be swapped out quickly and easily. I've changed hundreds of these over the years, and on an older car, like I'm working on right now, it's got a manual handbrake. Couldn't be simpler. You just physically push the pistons back in, you make the space in the caliper for your new ones, pop them in, and you're done. On a car that's got an electronic handbrake, yeah, I mean there's an extra step, but again, it's no big deal. You're going to need a scanner that can trigger the software to reset the piston position rather than physically doing it yourself. But it's still perfectly achievable for your average DIYer. You can pick up a generic scanner pretty cheaply. You can do it on your driveway if you like. I mean, people have been at this point for over 10 years. Now here's why I suspect we're about to see this change en masse. Last couple of weeks a story came out. And this story, this unbelievable story, was about the owner of a Hyundai Ioniq 5N that was trying to change his rear brake pads. It was a 2025 car. He's burnt through those brake pads quickly. That's beside the story. Now, as you'd expect, it uses an electronic handbrake, and so you're going to need a cheap scanner. It's a new car. You're going to need a scanner to do it. Now, this guy, he had a couple of cars that he maintains, so he had one of these scanners. Plugs it in, as you do. Nothing. No response from the car. I mean, sometimes that happens. It could be a faulty scanner, for all we know. So I've been in his shoes. You get hold of another scanner, plug it in, and the second scanner he plugs in, again, nothing from the car. No response. Okay, so now it's getting weird. He gets in touch with Hyundai to find out why. And the reason, well, the reason becomes horribly clear. Because what he's told strikes fear into all of us that want to be able to repair and maintain our own property. He's told that in order to access the function needed to change his own rear brake pads, there's two options, two convenient options. Either he buys Hyundai's global diagnostic system for about $6,000, or he buys one of 3 approved scanners, each costing about $2,000, and then takes out a subscription to Hyundai's Access software that costs about £60 per week. Oh, and you're also going to need a constant and stable internet connection to do so. We're talking about brake pads here. We're talking about brake pads. Hyundai, as you'd expect, they also added on that under no circumstances do they recommend using a non-approved device. And at this point, your head probably works somewhat like mine. You're thinking, okay, whatever. There's bound to be 1,000 workarounds here. There's bound to be a scanner out there somewhere that's cracked the code, and it means we don't need to go buying the expensive subscription or the $2,000 scanner, or even, okay, why don't we get old school on it? Why don't we use the old hack where you take the motor off the back, you wind it back in yourself, or even, I've been here, put the power prongs on, the 12 volts, and force that piston back in yourself. I get it. I've been around long enough to know that these hacks exist, and they often do work. A bit of ingenuity goes a long way. But the thing is, we're thinking about this the wrong way. We shouldn't have to be coming up with workarounds or hacks to something that we've had basic solutions to for the last 50 years. They could make it easy. They could make the software open source so that all the scanner manufacturers can connect to it easily, but they don't. It's a classic case of manufacturing a problem and then selling you the solution. Now, what adds a bit of credibility to this whole thing is Hyundai actually responded to the incident, and here's what they had to say. Hyundai is committed to supporting both our dealer network and independent repair facilities with safe, secure and accessible service solutions. I'm making myself laugh here. For vehicles equipped with electronic parking brakes, including the Ioniq 5 and 5N, the official repair procedure requires placing the rear calipers in service mode using either our Global Diagnostic System, GDS, or the J2534 application. This ensures proper functionality and customer safety. Hyundai recently expanded access through to our J2534 application, enabling aftermarket users to perform functions previously restricted by the GDS Secure Gateway. This ensures proper functionality and customer safety. Hyundai recently expanded access through an update to our J2534 application, enabling aftermarket users to perform functions previously restricted by the GDS Secure Gateway. While authentication through NASTF is required for sensitive operations, this step helps maintain security and accountability. Our official global dealer tool, GDS, is also available for purchase by anyone. Yeah, for $6,000. And Hyundai are actively exploring ways to make routine maintenance easier for all customers while upholding safety standards. Now, it's worth pointing out here that this incident, it took place over in the US. That's why there's a reference to NASTF in there as well. And over in the US, their litigious practices that they tend to have means that manufacturers need to provide a right to repair. Now, that's likely the only reason they've made this software available in the first place. Even if they have made it fairly difficult to access and expensive, the key is they're still providing access, and therefore they are still technically conforming to the rules. If you're thinking, well, you know, that's over in the US, why does it affect us here in the UK? What I'd say is, remember, these are global companies with global systems. Playing devil's advocate for a moment here, if all the Hyundais sold here were wildly different, or any other new car for that matter, which I don't suspect they are, given it's a globally sold model in this Hyundai's case, we've got a tendency here in the UK of adopting US practices sooner or later anyway. Take a look at OBD ports as an example. The standard communication port that we've had on every car here for the last, 20 years now? That too was a product of US practices. My point here is, it's pretty immaterial where it takes place. It's pretty immaterial where it begins, because if it makes money, it'll soon be worldwide anyway. If it's making revenue, you're going to find it everywhere. Now, let me wrap this video up by saying this. There's going to be plenty of people out there ready to challenge this, to say, I've got a scanner and I'm sure it would handle that 2025 Hyundai, no bother whatsoever. Or maybe they have some wacky workaround, and I admire it. Mechanics are resourceful people, and we should all be grateful for that. As cars get more and more complex, we're going to need people who can come up with practical, cost-effective solutions. But the point I'm trying to drive home here is the principle. It just should not be necessary. What we're talking about here is a car repair task that has been entirely DIY friendly for decades without shelling thousands out on software. What we're seeing is intentional roadblocks, and I'm afraid that's nothing new. I mean, try replacing a headlight or even a battery on many newer cars. You can't. Chances are you're going to need to take it back to the main dealer and have them code that new component in before it's going to work. And now that same mentality is finding its way into basic wear components. We used to buy cars for the revolutionary features that they had, and in the future, I imagine we're going to buy them for the revolutionary features that they don't have. Now, as for good used cars, well, do remember, all our viewers get 20% off Vehicle Score HPI checks. Make sure you do one of these before committing to any purchase. There are just so many cars out there with hidden histories. Can't buy a used one, can't buy a new one. What are you going to do? But at least Vehicle Score takes some of the guesswork out of that on the used side, at least anyway. Now, as ever, please do hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this. Hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you next time. Back to work for me.